Moving forward is making things happen. If you want to move things around or to animate anything in the CG industry, we need this artist who have both technical and artistic skills. Can you guess who is it? It's riggers. They play a quite essential role in the CG industry to make things easier for animators, layout and Matchmove. Today I have Ponmudi, who is a hardworking and inspiring rigging artist who helps the CG industry to move things around and animate characters using his impressive rigging skills. This interview contains a lot of information about being a rigger. And since he worked on a lot of movies, TV shows, and future animation films. Let's listen to what Pon have to say.
Thanks for having me in your channel, first of all. And then, as he said, we didn't meet in Toronto. I mean, we have a long background. We studied together engineering in India. So, and then he came to Canada first, and then I follow his steps. So, so first of all, I studied animation in Sheridan in 2012. And after I graduated, I joined Pipeline as a technical director. And I worked there for 1 year, and then after I moved to sinking ship as a 3D generalist, but I mainly worked on rigging department. So in 2015, I got a job offer from Meta Studios, so I moved to Vancouver and worked there for like 3 years till 2018. Worked on some feature films like King Arthur, Civil War, Fantastic Beasts, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and New Mutant. Uh, in the New Mutant, I worked on some main characters at last. And I learned a lot from Meta Studios because I had a good supervisor and lead there. And after that, after New Mutant, I moved to Cinesite to work on Adam's Family, animated feature. That was my most favorite cartoon in my childhood. I was really excited to work on that movie. So after finishing that project, I joined as a senior rigger in Mainframe Studios and promoted as a lead rigger for a show called Made by Maddie on the ship. And then still I'm working on that show. I'm not yet finished yet, so.
Hey Pon, did you also say that you worked on that show called in Netflix called Oja?
Yeah, Obja is a Netflix show, and I worked on the show, but I did like mostly like a secondary characters, vehicles, and crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, not on main, because it's like a small rigging team, and there is not that big as it was there. Just a couple of two Objas.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you can start showing your reel, and yeah, and we can go from there. Okay.
Sure. So this shot is from Adam's Family, and the blue guy is the Gomez, and the black guy is the Fester. And I worked on both rigs on like body rigs. So like it's more like a challenging body rigs because they have to maintain their bell-shaped body to match the 2D animation pose. And mostly like Fester. Fester is kind of like a big bell-shaped body and then have a huge coat, and it's kind of fun. Yeah, it's a really good rig though.
Yes.
So before introduction, this is a wine rig, wine plant rig for a TV show called Art Squad. I did it for like a sinking ship. This is considered as a prop rig, but yeah, it's more like it's rigging is not that fun only in character. You can like there's a lot of crazy prop rigs too, and then it's one of the crazy prop rig I ever done. And because you have to make it vine grow, and also the leaf needs to grow on top of it, and it's a good one. Like animators loved it, and it's like do it all the crazy stuffs, and also like animator rig friendly.
So Pon, so this rig you created from scratch, or
Yes, from the scratch. Actually, like before when they explain how the wine gonna work in the shot, I mean, the CG supervisor wants it to model everywhere, not just
mm-hmm.
they don't want the rig at all. But my lead say that they will do a test like building a small rig for the animation, so they can do it on their imagination. Because if you model the thing, it's already preset, right? There is
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
predefined, so you cannot change anything on those model. So if you have a rig, so the animators can place it wherever they want, and it will enhance the shot. So
Okay.
we did the test for 1 week, and the CG supervisor convinced that this rig can do what he wants. So finally we proceed with the rig, and finally we delivered it.
Okay.
So
I also
I'm
have
really
another
proud of this
question.
rig. Yes.
I have another question. Sorry, Pun. So, this rig, like, did the modeler give the model, or it's kind of like some procedural wine? Like, how it's happening? Is it from Maya Painter?
I mean, there is no model in it. We just use a cylinder,
Mm-hmm.
but and also like there is a wire deformer, and on the top of the wire deformer, they extrude like a scale function will happen when the wine grows. Obviously, like automatically, like, procedurally, that topology also will get increased. So that's how we script it out. Like it's an expression. So that's why it doesn't lose any texturing. Also,
Okay.
and also when you see it in the bigger screen, you don't see any like patches. It will be like so perfect. So
Nice, nice. Okay, so it's like you guys did a lot of back end working. Like you guys did a lot of scripting, right?
yes, so like a expression scripting, and also we have to make it automatic because I cannot. Whenever there is a texture change, we have to update the rig. It's not like you have to do it every time from the scratch. So I have to make a script so this automatically did do all those changes whatever I did to make a rig setup. That's how the rigger do. Like we do first like a manually we try it, and then we make it automatic. Yeah.
Automatic. Okay, cool.
Automated that, yes.
Cool. Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
So this is my personal project. I think you guys heard about Puppeteer Lounge. They conducted a realistic rigging workshop. So when I was in internship, I thought like to improve my rigging skill or something like rigging skill. So I chose this workshop and did a Maya muscle-based rigging. I learned a lot from that workshop, and then this is the final project from that workshop.
Yeah, point. Like I've seen like a lot of people in rigging. They show like all kind of these muscle movements. Like why they do it? Like is there a reason?
Yes, this is we call as a calisthenics. So, I mean, what I see from a little bit like a graduated from school, what they show is like they just show the rig and move the controls and everything. At one point, you'll get bored to see all of it because everyone show the same thing, right? So, but if you show as a motion, so as a recruiter or somebody, when they see it, they see the deformation, like when they move the leg, how the body performs, how you skin weighted on particular geometry, so it deforming well or not, because the deformation is the one you see it on the screen. If it's good, it will sell the the animators can sell the character, right? So that's what I'm saying, like, so the deformation needs to be good. So to show the deformation, you have to show it by like a movements, like a rom or calisthenic. This is called, we call as a calisthenic.
Nice. So this is the first time. Actually, last week, Ravi, one of the rigger, he explained about this test. Now I'm seeing in your demo, so it's kind of quite interesting. Yeah.
Oh yes, even in the production, right? Whenever we finished a rig, we submit a calisthenic in the shotgun, so the animation supervisor or animation lead can see that and also say, "Oh, this is right, this is wrong," and then we need more deformation on this part.
Mm-hmm.
So and also it helps for the lead to approve the rig from our team. So we cannot go and open the rig all the time to check each control, right? So it's easy to check everything by just the calisthenic.
Oh, nice. Okay. Keep going, man. One second point. Like guys, if you guys have any other questions, you guys can ask. Just put it in the chat window, and I will ask the questions. Yeah. Keep going. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
So here you're showing your expressions in the. Can you go back? I have a question. Like it's not a question. So is it like I've been working in the industry for a bit? Like is it really hard to like do like facial rigging like this? Like what you're showing us?
What do you mean, like a movements, facial
Yeah, like
movements?
the facial movements and everything. Is it really hard to, because you do it through blend shapes, or do you usually paint weights and do skin weights or something like that?
I mean, for the realistic rigs, we have to go through blend shape because it's not that easy to get it done by joint-based facial rig. I mean, it's also is there, but it's mostly for gaming industry because they don't. The game engine doesn't allow blend shapes, so they just allow only the skin cluster. So they use everything on the joint-based facial rigs. For animation and also for the VFX, we use joint to certain extent, but for shapes, for the full facial emotions, everything will rely on the blend shapes. That will be like easy for it because we already have there is a department called facial modeling, so they take care of all the facial shapes. So we have to integrate those shapes into the face. That's it.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, keep going.
And also as you show it or show it, like there's a topology like with the edges and also the normal plane thing because we have to show it in a topology because you need to show the all the edges are evenly distributed. We don't want to make it like a cringe or something like a problem with the topology because that will give us an issue in the rendering.
Oh, okay.
So this is one of my freelance work. I always want to reach a dragon. That's so awesome to do it. But yeah, this is one of my freelance work.
So how long does it take you to do like a rig like this, like for the dragon?
For the dragon, the first pass I will submit because it's a freelance work. Other than my normal work, I usually work on my spare time. So it took me like 1 week. But if I do it in a studio, the first pass I need to deliver in like a 2 days to 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So animators or layout can start the shot, and then after that we just work on top of it, like we have to produce the second pass with the helper joints to solve the to fix something deformation issues happening, and also add muscles on top of it if it's necessary, and then we can add like a end cloth on the wings. So it's kind of like a fun,
Fun.
but
Okay.
it's like you have to go like a step by step. That's it.
Step by step. Yeah. Okay. So I have a question from the chat. It's a topology question. I noticed elbow
Yes.
topology at the base of the triceps, but
Mm-hmm.
nowhere else. Is there a reason why?
Which one?
OJ, like it would be better if you ask that question because I don't understand either.
Okay, so Pawn, I was looking as well on your Vimeo because I saw, yeah, you had a Vimeo. And if you go to this model, if you go to the scene where he's facing away from the camera,
This one?
nope, facing the other way.
Yeah.
There. If you
Yes.
look halfway on his triceps, there's elbow topology there.
This one.
Yes. No. Halfway. A little bit more right in the middle of the arm at the bottom.
I think he's talking about the triceps, I guess.
Yeah, the tricep.
Okay.
Like the base, like there's some elbow topology there, but I don't see elbow topology in other muscles. Is there a reason why? Just
I mean, this is actually I did model this one first of all.
Oh, okay.
This is the one I got it from Puppeteer Lounge, and also like for me, like when I saw this model, the whole topology is based on the muzzle, how the muzzle was modeled inside. So we will, because we need a particular like a you mean the tricep area, right? Like a round something like that, right?
Yeah.
That's actually like for the tricep muscle. It gives little bit of bump. I mean, for as a rigger, I don't see an issue in the topology. I mean,
I'm not seeing an issue there too. I was just wondering why it was there.
I really don't know.
Okay.
Actually,
Just wondering.
I can understand. I understand your question. I think Pon didn't get it. Actually, if you see your tricep muscles, there is a bump. There is two heads in your triceps. There's a big and a small head. So as a modeler, when I give the model like this to a rigger, I model it based on the muscles. Like even for the elbow at the bottom, there's like a bump. We also model that too. Like if you see even like on the shoulders, like you could see shoulders are three heads. So if you see at the back of the shoulders, there is a muscle you can see, like the topology flows from the top of the shoulder to bottom of the shoulder, which joins to the biceps. So
Yeah.
we model it in a way the topology flows so that it's easier for the rigger to rig, and it also deforms properly in the animation as well.
My guess was when I first saw that, my first guess was that there was supposed to be another joint there, and they decided to take it out of the model.
Uh,
And they just did update
no, no,
the
no, no.
topology.
Actually, like when you, actually, as Dinesh said, that when you see on the shoulder, we have multiple edges, like a, it's like a side by side, right? That gives like what happens when you have like a more topology on that area or edges on that area. When I do a skin deformation, it will be like it looks very smooth. So we always request the modelers to do a topology which matches the muscle.
Okay.
Just it.
Yeah, I was just wondering because when I see that, that looks like knuckle or knee or elbow topology, and
Oh,
it looks
yes.
like it's out of place. It looks so out of place right now. So yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, back to you. Sorry.
Cool. No worries.
I think you were in the Adams family, I guess.
Okay. Yes. So there is another rig which I did for Adam's family. The king, the hand, which is kind of like a fun work because it's we don't they don't want to treat this as a normal hand rig. It's not just a knuckle joints, everything. It needs to perform as a character. So it has a unique rig setup. It's created for it, and it really worked. I mean, got a lot of inputs from animation, like how they want it and everything. So it was one of my favorite trick ever done in Adam's family. It's kind of cool.
So, Pon, so I have a question. So, as a rigger, when they assign
Mhm.
you a task like this, like for this and to animate and everything, like where do you start? Like, do you get a lot of asset launch from your CG soup and lead rig? Like, how it works?
uh, when 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 my lead assigned this rig to me, so first I'll go and search for the animatics, like animatics or storyboard, how the design or the 2D artist did the drawings, like how it wants to move. So then we had a chat with the director and animation supervisor, what kind of controls they need, how it wants to deform, like they will give some lot of inputs like how they want it. So once we plan everything and we do like a first pass to send it to the animation supervisor. So once they approved it, okay, it's fine. We like this rig and then proceed with this. So we add top of it if they need any deformers or like other like a helper joints, corrective shapes, all those stuff. Yes.
Oh, cool. That sounds really interesting, man. Okay. Yeah, you can keep showing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Then the food. And I can show you the current made by Maddie, which I'm working. They released a promo, if you like.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what you were doing in this show?
So I'm a lead rigger in this show. I'm responsible for rig all the kits, like mostly like a body rig. The face rig was done by Farad, and also like other characters were done in overseas. I'm just Indonesia, and also I'm leading them also. It's a cool show for kids, and it's premiering on September 13th.
Oh,
I
nice.
think so.
So, like, what's your timeline? What's your timeline for this kind of rigs? Like, how it works? Like, how long does it take you to do like a mod rig for this kind of characters?
So always the timeline differs with TV shows because they wanted everything to finish it as soon as possible. For one, first pass always needs to deliver in 1 day or one maximum 2 days, and then so the animators can start their scenes, the shots, right? We don't want to make them wait. So once the shot is in thing, then we'll get like a notes from the animation supervisor, animation leads, and they having this kind of problems in the rig. So once we get those notes, and then we proceed further, like adding more if they want like any like corrective shapes or something, if they want to add anything on top of it. So it is their choice. Yes.
Oh, nice. I also have one more question based on this question. So you worked on both spectrum. You worked on animation as well as in VFX.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think is different, or like, is there any difference between working in the both industry, or do you feel it's the same?
Um, but the base is same. Like the rigging base is everything is same. Like you use the same tool, you use the everything is the same as like VFX animation have is the same thing, right? But the only thing differs is like VFX is more like a realistic. We have to stick with the realistic joint placement. I mean, for our body, where the clavicle is, where the elbow is, where the shoulder is, we have to stick with the particular joint placement. And also the animators are limited with that animation too because they cannot over exaggerate it. I mean, for the normal realistic humans, they have to stick with the human emotions. But in animation, we can do anything we want. I mean, we have to stick with the anatomy, of course, but the animators can push your rig to, I mean, push your rig to certain limit too. I mean, if they want to achieve that particular pose. So it will be little bit heavy compared to VFX, and we will put a lot of work on animation. Yes.
Oh, because they have a lot of expression and facial
Yes,
stuff.
it's more like an animation, like an exaggerated one, right? So
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have anything else to show us, like other than the made by Maddie, or?
I think that's it. I mean, I have like one the Black Panther vehicle one, and that's just
Oh,
one.
so okay. Can you show like what you did in Black Panther? Okay, that will be awesome.
I mean, that's one of the vehicle. The three vehicles is flying. Those are the one I did.
Oh,
Uh, it comes in a lot of shots, but this is the only shot I got. Yes.
nice. So, what exactly you did in that vehicle? Like,
So this what do you say like a this vehicle is kind of like a unique one because the other one is landed normally, right? The next one is landed by folding the wings down. So it's kind of like a interesting concept when I see the design, and then like when we made the rig, it needs rigging and the modeling needs to work together because the modeling will submit one thing, but it won't work like in physics in rigging, right? So we have to place the joint. We need that particular wings in certain pose to work and also in certain angles. So it's kind of like a back and forth with modeling and rigging, and then finally we got it right, and then it worked. And it's kind of nice.
cool, man. That's pretty cool work. I really like that ship. Like, it kind of looks like a dragonfly, but yeah, to make it work, because I know the pain of it because I mod a lot of ships, but it doesn't work in
Yes.
rig. Then I have to sit with the rigger, make sure it works. So okay, so do you guys have any other questions for Pon before we go to the next part of the session? I'll just open the floor for another 2 minutes so you guys can ask questions.
This
Yes.
is Venki. I have a question. It's like, so what are the plugins are used for rigging?
Plugin, there is a lot of like a proprietary one. We cannot use it anything from outside. That's the thing. But the only thing we use it from outside is the NG skin tools. That's for I say that that's the best skin weight tool you can use. I mean, you can use it as a layer, like a Photoshop layer, right? So it's so much powerful one compared to the Maya skin cluster tool. If you didn't try it, I say try it. That's kind of like an industry standard, and everyone loves NG skin. Everyone use it. So it's the best NG skin cluster tool. You can use it in the production.
Nice, nice.
Cool.
So,
Uh,
do
so,
you have another question?
yes,
Okay, okay.
Dinesh, like,
Sure.
Okay, I know like they're widely using Maya for rigging. So other than Maya, what are the other softwares they're used for rigging? Like Maya is like it's expensive, so it depends on the shows, right? So they still
Yes.
stick with Maya or any other softwares that comes with.
I mean, as rigging, we use only Maya. That's for sure. I mean, it depends on the studio too. If the studio use only Maya, just we can use it only in Maya. So, and also like there is other plugins like a Ziva nowadays use it for like a visual effects for muscle simulation on
Yeah.
top of Maya, and also like some people use Ziva and some people use Houdini like for muscle simulation. But muscle simulation is not on rigging. It's more like a character effects or simulation artist. That's a different department. We just place the muscles and give to them, and they do the cache and they do the sim on their own. So I'll say like so far I work only in Maya. We don't really needed any other software. I mean, if some of the I know one show demanded the Houdini and one guy did that Houdini, but rigging mostly done in Maya. That's fine.
Cool. Even if it is for VFX or an animation, for both.
Yes, VFX and animation and both, everything.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Like, what are the scripting things are using for rigging? Like,
We mostly you need to know like in Python. I mean,
Yeah.
you can learn Python in work, so it's fine when you know the concept of rigging. It's you can join as a rigger and then you can learn Python from while working on it. Learning coding, it's always another hand for riggers. You definitely need to know coding because you need to make it everything automated. You cannot do it everything from the scratch every time they update the model, because in VFX mostly they update the model every day. So the animation need updated model. So you have to rebuild the rig every time. So it's easy to do everything like making a script or having as a function, and also you can have your own tool to make it faster your workflow. So you cannot just open file or something. You can have like a little bit script that do a rivet option or like a fast skin cluster everything. Also and you can do like a Python, C++. It's the most important one is a rigor, but C++ is fine. But if you know Python, it's good.
Cool. Thanks, Pamudi.
No worries.
We are going to the next part of the session of this meetup event. So what we will do is the person or the artist who is coming to our stream or the event, they show their one of the personal work. Pon, do you have any personal work you can share with us?
I mean, okay. Model by you. Yes, it's a beautiful model. Yes. So me and Dinesh did this model project for a client, and then the client wanted simplest rig. So it's a very very basic rig when there's like no other like a big deformation. It's more like just a robot arms everything. And it's like a FK hand and a IK legs. That's it.
Hey, Pon, like, can you explain the difference between FK and IK? I always wanted to know.
So the full form of FK is forward kinematics and IK is inverse kinematics. So IK think as a human arm. So when we move the wrist or hand, it automatically move your elbow and the shoulder. That's how the IK do. So it's easy for animators to pose the hand or pose the leg so fast. So they don't need to move shoulder, elbow, and wrist, and then to make it work. That's how the FK works. It's like a robot arm. You have to move the shoulder first, and you have to move the elbow, and then you have to move the wrist. That's how the FK works. But both has pros and cons. But FK will work in some shots, but most of the shot animators prefer IK to work. So
okay, yeah, it makes sense.
So this is the simplest rig, but I can show you the dragon. That's a freelance work.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome.
guys, like even if you guys have any questions regarding what he's showing now, you guys can ask. So don't be shy. So
So this is the drag and trick which I did for as a freelance job, and you can see like there's a huge chunk of like polygon. So it's more like a this thing, and then it's more like it's a IK1, and then experience.
but like how long does it took you to do this rig? Like with skinning weights and everything.
I mean, as you see, usually for a production, we expect like a low res first because it's easy to skin it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a freelance work, and I got this topology. So what I couldn't able to ask the guy to have a reduced topology. So what I did is means like I have to reduce the topology like in my locally. So when you have a less edges, it's easy to do a fast skinning. That's the workflow, my workflow. When we get a high topology, I always reduce the topology to like a low one, so I can easily skin it, and then I copy the skin weight from that to the high topology one. So
Okay.
and the Maya itself, it copy like so evenly in the high topology, and it will finish 70% of your work, and then you have to do like a little bit fixes on the deformation, then it's done.
Okay.
So
So if I, for example, if I have a low poly and if I
yes,
give that and you rig it
yes,
and I subdivide it, then you can transfer the weights from the low poly to the high poly, right?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
nice.
And also in the production, we always give the low poly to the animation, because in the shot there will be like a lot of characters. If you have like so much high poly, it
Mm-hmm.
will be very slow for animation, for animators to zoom the camera, do the animation, make a pose from the character.
Yeah, yeah, it makes
So
sense. Yeah.
it always best to give a low poly to the animation, and then high poly is only for the rendering purpose or for the simulation purpose.
Okay. So okay, when you're doing this dragon, like, where did you start? Like, do you have any idea like what need to be done, or you just started with this
So
rig and
I mean, the only thing I got I got it from a client is he wants the rig as a dragon. That's it. He didn't say anything about how. So I took the liberty, and then mostly the dragon is like you can see the wings is kind of similar to bats.
mm-hmm.
So I have to see a lot of bat reference to see like how the bat is folding and everything. And this folding wings, everything is like I saw it from the Game of Thrones dragon. That's how it's stand, right? So it's kind of like a similar to the Game of Thrones dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And also for the neck, it's more like a lizard, like a snake kind of um, um, anatomy. So you have to make it move it like a snake or something. Uh, you have to uh, place the joint in such a way they can move the head like a snake. So
Yeah,
that's the one.
nice. That looks pretty cool, man. Yeah.
And also a little bit like a facial thing, like open the mouth. You need to give that open mouth and everything. So
So you did everything
that's it.
nice. It's quite interesting. So okay, one more question from me. Okay, so once you select the controller on the neck, like
Mhm.
you can stretch the neck a little bit, right? So when I texture it, and when you stretch the neck, we get stretching in the textures, right? How do you guys fix it?
Uh, that's the thing. Like usually, like the animators will take care of it. We can give a limit transformation for the thing. You cannot go beyond that. And also the stretching will work to certain extent. If they stretch to a little bit, this extent is fine. If they stretch like this, it won't work.
Okay,
So we will let the animators know that's not the good pose. So
okay.
that's how they have to work on it. So
So So you guys tell like this is a stretch limit. You can't go beyond that. Then textures will stretch, right?
Yes. I
Oh,
mean, usually we don't lock anything for the animators. So because if you lock it, they cannot push anything. So we keep it unlocked. And also, like when it comes as an issue, we let the animators know you cannot go beyond this one. So
okay.
you have to make it work with that particular course, because
Particular course. Okay.
the topology and texturing won't support the rigging that much. Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, because like in the production, everything comes to rigging. Whatever the issue is, texturing issue or modeling issue, that will be as a rigging issue.
Yeah.
So we have to explain them. That's not going to work, and you have to keep your cost a little bit down.
Yeah. Then you have to fix it, right? Okay. I think that's why you guys get paid more than like animator and modeler. I guess it's quite
Yes,
a difficult job to do. Rapid fire pawn.
of course. Bring it on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The first question is how do you feel being part of this booming CG industry?
So honestly, I'm feeling great to be in this industry, because I always wanted to work in movies since my childhood. So I don't feel any regret or anything.
Okay. So the next question: what sparked your interest in this industry?
Spark. I mean, I say this story to everyone. It's like Lion King was my first spark, because Lion King is the first animation movie I see in my childhood. So from that point, it's like a starting point for me. Till now, I don't know like how many times I would have seen that. I mean, I've seen that Lion King movie. I just saw like by heart every dialogues, everything. So eventually, like it grew on me. I started to watch a lot of cartoons and animation, even though like I don't know how it done or anything, because in India we don't have that exposure. Nobody knows there is a field called animation, right? So after my UG, I did my research, and then I finally get into animation. So that's all.
Nice. Yeah. Lion King was one of my inspiration too. So that we have some kind of some commonality there. And okay, so the next question would be: how do you find your aspiration or motivation as an artist?
I usually find it from my peers. Yeah, not everyone work on a same project. Like some people work on different projects, some people work on other projects. So when some project will have like a some interesting rigs, and then you would have thought of something like you do that particular feature for the rig, but that guy would have think something differently that will blow you away, and then definitely you have to learn it from him, like how we did that, so and also like that kind of things. And then I usually check my LinkedIn more often to see like my LinkedIn connection posted something like a videos or not. So I see that particular like when they show their work, so it kind of inspired me a lot. So then I have to like, okay, it's kind of nice trick, and then I have to try it on my own in a different method or something like that. So that's how I get my aspiration motivation.
Yeah, that is quite aspiring and new technique. I never thought about it, but that's really cool, man. Okay, let's.
Yeah, I mean, usually our industry is small, right? So there are a lot of people, like talented people, is there. Like when you just like see what they do, you just really like they inspire you. Even when you watch like a lot of movies, when you see like the characters performing or the rigs, I mean, they don't show the rig. We are kind of a behind the scenes, but as a rigger, when I see the character emote very well, I will say like, oh my god, that facial tension or the facial rig was perfect. So it just inspires you to do more and work hard. So,
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, let's move on to the next question. And what are some creative suggestions that can be applied in CG industry?
okay, so I don't know, I'm experienced enough to give a creative suggestion to anybody, but I'll say like because of this COVID, everyone had a taste of work from home option. I think our industry is the only industry doesn't have that work from home option because of the client terms and conditions and everything. So I think like in future, our industry should consider the work from home as an option. So it's kind of like help the artist to have a balanced life, and also it will help them, and also it prevent them from burnout too. So I say like I work from home. I really like my work from home options. Yes.
Nice, nice. Yeah, not that many people talk about it, but you're openly talking about being working from home is quite really good. Okay, let's go to the next question. What was the most fun creative work have you done?
Most fun. There's a lot of work, but I if I want to point out two, I can say like the wine rig and the hand rig, which I did. I mean, the wine is kind of a prop rig, but it demands so many things. I have to do like a lot of crazy things, and also like uh, it, it's like a crazy rig, but it also needs to be like a user friendly for animation too. That one, and hand is like one of my favorite character. So and just I was it was so fun to rig that one.
Yeah, actually, I could relate to it because when like animator gets to rig and they do it easier, that means the rigger would have spent a lot of time on it and put a lot of thoughts into it. So I totally can agree on that. And the next question is, what this industry can teach you about people skills?
People skills.
Yeah.
Creating a movie is teamwork, right? No, like it's like a team of people work together and make a beautiful piece. So it's not like a just one guy did all this work. So to so each department relies on other department. So to finish the project fast and then to make it smooth, you have to be like good with people skills. Obviously, like our industry really improve your social skills and people skills generally. Even if you're introvert, you have to communicate with people to make the work done. So I'll say like it's good.
Yeah, well said, Pon. I really agree with that too. And so the next question would be, what are some challenges you faced before working in this industry?
As I said before, it was so hard for me to get a lot of information about what is animation industry, how to get to the industry or something like that. Because when I was school or university, and there was no big exposure, and nobody knows what is that. I mean, nobody really understand what is animation industry like 10 years, 20 years before. I mean, now everyone knows because it's like there is a huge like movies, a lot of movies are releasing, everyone is enjoying the movie. But that time, like 15 years, 10 years back, nobody knows that much about animation at all. So I have to find it everything in a hard way. And also, I have to convince my parents to pursue animation after my engineering degree because in India, like everything is like engineering or doctor. It's like art related is kind of not that like not that nobody knows that much about art related jobs. So luckily they helped me and to pursue my animation in Canada. So
Oh, nice.
after that, yeah, and after that I had some visa issues, but that's individual issues. But overall,
Yeah,
that's the one. Yes.
nice, nice. Yeah, I can relate to it because like I had the same issue having the exposure to this industry, but eventually I have to look for information. But there is a lot of information there out there now. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What advice would you give someone entering the CG industry?
I mean, a lot of people would have said the same thing, but yeah, you have to be very passionate and hardworking, and also you have to be like very patient. I mean, it's kind of like an art. Take it as a rigging or take it as animation or anything like modeling texture. You cannot get it right in one go. It will take like so many errors, so many mistakes. You will learn everything from your mistakes. So you have to be very patient and passionate about it. And also like I'll say like be more on top of that. I can say like be more humble and open-minded. So when you be like open-minded, you learn a lot of new stuffs. So if you like so much thing, if you know one thing, if you stick with the one thing, that won't help you to improve yourself. So I say like be more humble, open-minded, and also try to learn new things and keep growing always.
Now that's a pretty good advice, one. I really appreciate that advice. And let's go to the next question. What do you think about the future of the CG industry?
uh, what do you say? Like it's evolving so fast, and then so many new contents and new and different contents coming out daily. And then there is a lot of new technology and software, and it's sometimes it scared you as an artist because you have to keep on learning new things to sustain in the industry. But it's a good thing, like that will take the CG industry to a different level. So
Nice, nice. I can totally relate to it too. And this is the last question. So, what are some of your art-related hobbies?
art later. I love photography,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm into like a macro photography nowadays. So as a technical guy, like sitting in front of my computer like all the time, just I feel like photography brings me closer to nature and outside world sometimes. So and also like I started to learn how to do a composition of a scene or like a shot, like how they people think. Like it's kind of interesting to do a like it's a hobby, it's a photography, and also like macro photography is a different kind. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I really like enjoying it. Yes.
Nice, man. Like I recommend like everybody to like some kind of art related stuff because that brings you to the outside world as well as keep you present. I totally agree with it, and yeah, and
Yes.
so that was the last question from my questioner, and now I'm going to give everything to the floor, and you guys can ask any questions you guys want, and we have like I have another 10 minutes, so whatever questions you guys have, you can ask them, and it's up to you guys. So go for it. This is Q&A session.
Somebody, this is
Yes.
not a question, but overall, it's a really great presentation. As a rigger, I also learned from you, and um, what you said is really true. Open-minded and be humble and willing to learn. Um, yeah, that's really great. And thanks for having us, and thanks for the presentation. It's really
Thank you
great.
for
Thanks
thank you
for
for thank you for listening, and thank you for having
yeah,
me. Yes. Thank you.
great. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
You mentioned Python and C++ earlier.
Mhm.
I'm still like really new too. So how much of it do you need to like be able to like how much of Python or C++ do you need to learn to be able to like begin rigging?
I mean, C++ is not really necessary. It's just kind of like an additional thing. If you're going for an interview, if you know C++, is mainly to create some deformers. That's more like a specialized skill. So if you have that skill, usually you'll get a job soon, faster. Studios want to grab you. So for as a rigger, everyone, all the studios use Python. Everything is Python coded. So you need to know Python if you face up an issue in rigging or something like a script which was done by your predecessor or something. If you open the script, you need to know what is going on, what is the issue. So I'll say like if you're intermediate level is fine. If you are joining as a junior, just and then you can learn from your work. So it's fine.
Okay.
But you need to know Python, any coding language to sustain as a rigger in the studio. Without that, you cannot be. I mean, it's not. It will be hard for you
Okay.
because everything is coded, everything is automated. You need to know what is going on in your rig. If something is broken or something, you need to fix it. To fix it, you need to know the Python.
Okay.
It's not about only rigging. It's most of the softwares what we deal every day in production
Mhm.
are based on Python. Like not based on Python, but it will be really good if you have knowledge of Python.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, yes, that's true. But there is a modelers and modeling TD and texturing TD. So modeler is just more like a artist base. If you have like a Python skill that will help you, that's fine. But if you don't know Python as a modeler or comp or lighting, it's fine. You can still achieve great things because the technical director will take care of those stuff. But in rigging department, there is no separate thing. As a rigger, you have to need to know because you have to act as a TD and also like you have to do as an artist level too. So both.
Okay. Oh, what if you're like outside of regular school? How do you recommend learning rigging and like programming for it?
I mean, outside school, I mean, in Sheridan and everything, they don't usually teach rigging specialized. They just teach as a whole. So there is a lot of online school is there. I mean, I got it in Puppeteer Lounge. That's also good. And then CG Circuit has a good workshop which you can download as an offline. There is a couple of body rigs. The guy from Greenwood who released his own version of body rig and face rig. That was so cool. CG Circuit, Puppeteer Launch, and that's the one I remember. And there is a lot of things.
Okay, thank you.
And the Anim School has the body rig and the face rig too. That's kind of like a base. I mean, you can learn basic from them. From that, you have to improve yourself to search and research and then do on your own.
Cool.
Sorry, Pon. Could you say that again? What were the names of these online schools? Were
I think I can Puppeteer Launch. I mean, PP once again.
okay, Puppeteer Lounge.
Puppeteer Launch. They have a cool workshop. A lot of they even teach you Ziva. So, and also like a CG Circuit, which has like a couple of good pre-recorded workshop is there.
CG Circuit. Okay, CG Circuit.
I have put it in the chat. 2 names.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
You studied in, you mentioned you studied in Sheridan, right? Did
Yes.
you do animation?
I did animation actually. The thing is I really want to be an animator first of all. When I came to Sheridan to study animation. That's the main purpose. So when I went for my first job as in Pipeline Studios for an interview, they saw my qualification saying that you're doing good in rigging and also you know the Python language because I'm an computer science engineering graduate. So they say we have a opportunity as a technical director, not as an animator if you want to join. So as an international student, I want a first job as soon as possible. So I joined as a technical director, and also I love rigging, but I'm more passionate about animation because I see movies, everything. I saw only animation, no rigging in the screen, right? That's why so amazed. I want to be an animator. So once I joined technical director and start working on rigging, it's kind of it grew on me. So I really easily addicted to that rigging things, and then I started working on rigging, and then I'm rigging easy to get job, and also you get more paid. So why not?
Oh wow, cool.
And I mean, I even joined a animate workshop so to improve my animation skill, and then I stopped in between. So that's it. So I know a little bit animation, so I like to do animation, but I'm more interested in rigging. It's more it's fun, more technical plus artistic both you can handle.
Yeah, I would add on that as an rigger, you should know animation. If you know animation, it's very helpful. If you know modeling, it's very helpful as a rigger. As a right.
Yes. I mean, as a rigger, when you get the model from the modeling, you have to go see all the modeling and topology, and then you have to see, okay, this topology is going to work or not. You have to comment on that. For that, you need some modeling knowledge. And also for sculpting the shapes, and also for corrective shapes, you need to know the modeling tools. And then you need to know the anatomy. As a rigger, you need to know the anatomy, everything. Animation, so if you know animation, so you plan the rig in animation mind, in animators animators, right? So this control will help the animators or not. So it's easy for you to decide. So that will reduce, that will solve most of the issues.
Okay, now I think I'm gonna call it a session because there's no more questions. Pon, I really appreciate that you coming to this event and took time of your day and gave an awesome presentation. I learned a lot of stuff from you as well, and it was I didn't like usually I didn't know the difference between VFX and animation before, but you explained in a nutshell and everything in a in a really good manner, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming to this event, and yeah, and good luck with your future.
Thanks for having me, man, and thanks everyone for listening and asking questions about me.
Thanks.